Hey guys, we're back out at the Volvo 850. Today we're going to be switching some fuel injectors because mine have the original and the spray's uneven. I'm getting some codes on my computer. So we're going to put in these new ones from E-Motor Fuel Systems. I got all 5 of them for 80 bucks on Amazon and they came in less than a day. It was pretty crazy. They feel really high quality. They look just like the OEM ones, just newer, no discoloration. So mine right now have, this is pretty much gone on most of them, falling apart. This gasket's missing on some of them. So we're gonna go ahead and throw these in and see how they do. So some of the tools you guys will be needing is a 15 millimeter that'll pull off your main fuel line. And then you're gonna need a 10 to do all your hose clamps and your fuel rail bolts. I have the reverse intercooler piping kit, so I have this big chrome here, but most of you guys will probably have a plastic tube that comes through here and drops down. But I got that kit, so the turbo spools up faster. So first things first, so we don't spray ourselves with fuel when we're trying to pull this apart, we want to pull the number 2 fuse right here. It's a 15 amp, and that'll make it so our fuel pump doesn't turn on and keep pressurizing the rail. So once you pull out that fuse, you want to hop in. And you just want to turn the key over to make sure that there's you get all the fuel out. Your car may start for a second, but let it putter out and let the fuel out. So I already did that. Since I'm already in the garage, I didn't want to have my car on in there and smoke myself out. So depressurize your rail by turning the key with the relay or fuse out, and then you want to come over to this little Schrader, pull this off. It's just a little bicycle cap looking thing. And then you want to grab some shop towels and you want to shove a bunch of them underneath here. And then once you do that, you can grab your 10 millimeter wrench and you can just press to the mouth, let all the fuel out. I already did that, already cleaned it up, so a bunch is gonna come out, but that's okay. Hopefully you'll stop it with your shop towels or whatnot. You really don't want it getting on your rubber lines and any of your electronics because it may corrode things and melt your line. So next we want to pull this guy off. This is just your plastic piece that has all the radiator control, your evap control. So first you want to slip off your cooling fan relay. Then you want to slip off your, I don't know what this is, some sort of probably cruise control thing. And then you want to slip off your EGR control valve. And then once that's done, you should be able to pop this plastic piece off, which holds everything on there. And then you're just going to undo these clamps, loosen them up, slide this back, and then you can pick up your hose, move it out of the way like that. So once that's all ready to go, you just grab your 10 millimeter, you loosen these guys up. If you've never done this, they're going to be stuck on there pretty well, so you might have to grab them with a breaker. So once they're those loose, we can twist them out, and I'll get back to you guys when those are out. Alright, I got those 2 bolts out right here and right here. Those are all that hold the fuel line on, fuel rail on. So next you want to get this aluminum piece off. It may take some prying, but you just grab it and you pull it up like that. And there we go. We got our metal piece off. It's going to take some prying. It's got a really unique little hold on there where you put it, slip it in the groove and you pop it down, but it can be really sticky. So next you want to grab your 15 millimeter wrench, and then you're going to put it on your main fuel feed right here, and that's going to take some torquing. You just lefty-loosey that. So I'm going to do that. I kind of need 2 hands. Alright, so I broke that loose. Now I can just unspin it with my hands, and that'll come undone right there. And then next we're going to grab a flathead screwdriver, disconnect that hose to the fuel pressure regulator. pull that off. A little fuel might come out, but it won't kill you. So then we want to take off all our fuel injector connector leads. So you'll have this big little harness right here. And then you can go ahead and just pull out your whole fuel rail right here. It's still connected to with the vacuum line to the vacuum tree to the fuel pressure regulator. So don't pull too hard, and then make sure you don't lose these little blue guys. We need those to seal the holes. To make it easier on ourselves, we're going to go ahead and pull the yellow line off the vacuum tree right here. May take some pliers. Be careful that you don't rip it, because otherwise you'll have to go out and get a new one. Alright, once you got that popped off, you can lift the whole rail, carry it over to your workspace, wherever that may be. And then all you do is just pull each of these out one by one. It's also going to take 2 hands, but see how the whole rubber tip's gone right here? These still have them, these still have them, but they're falling apart. So pull these out one by one, and then go ahead and put in your new ones. Then once you got them all out, your rail will look just like this, and might as well take this time to clean it up. So this is what it will look like when you have all of the new injectors popped on there. Make sure that the connectors are facing up, so when it's sitting in the car it'll be like this. You want to make sure you're able to connect all your connectors on there. So just opposite side of the vacuum tube, make sure your connectors are up, and they should just plop in there with their little rubber gasket. So next we're going to want to grab all of our blue friends right here and pop them into the ports. So that'll give them a nice seal once the new ones are in. And we want to do that for all of them before we put it in there, because otherwise you'll end up with a uneven connection when you put those in there. So once you get all your blue O-rings in there, you just want to grab your fuel rail with all the new injectors on them. Now flip it like this. Keep an eye on this yellow cable, and you're just gonna gently guide them in there. Make sure when you're doing this, make sure your yellow cable, there's a little tower right here where it mounts. Make sure your yellow cable is on the other side. Once you got them all lined up, inspect all your blue O-rings. Ensure there's no folding or gaps. Then you're just going to slightly push it upward so the holes line up, and then push it in, and you should feel them settle and the rubber sit there. So now you got them all sat in there. Next, you can go ahead and pop this guy on. Jiggle that down there. Drop this guy onto here. Tighten that up later. You're gonna grab your harness. I always start at this side. Just grab, click them on nice and good, and just keep going all the way down. Next, you're gonna grab your two 10mm bolts, line them up in there. Go ahead and bolt those in. You don't have to torque those down a lot. Just get them flush. It's aluminum, so you don't want to strip it. And then before you put all your intake back together, make sure you grab your plate that protects the electronic cables. Put it in like this. Slide it over so that little groove lines up. And then you're going to fold it over like that. And then with some pressure, that'll click back in. And then you just hook up your air intake piping, put all the rest of what you did, put your relay fan back on, put your EGR back on, then you'll be good to go with all your new injectors. Enjoy.